Hey guys, welcome back to Horror Thoughts. This is Sean, joined by Scott as always. Today we're going to be talking about the new horror movie starring the Foo Fighters, or horror comedy, I should say, Studio 6 in February sometime, maybe late February. And we're going to give our sort of general thoughts and then maybe dive a little deeper into it with spoilers. So I guess just to start off, what were your just kind of general opinion on this?
Took me three separate tries to finish it. Had to watch
Hmm.
it in parts. I got exactly what I thought I would probably get. I'll say that. It was just, I mean, I think it's cool what they did. I think if you're a band and you want to make, if you're anybody, and you want to make something, go ahead and make it, whatever it is, whatever realm it is in. But as far as enjoyment and watchability, I had very little. There were maybe a handful of parts I got like a chuckle from, but other than that, it was not my cup of tea.
Hmm. So I think in terms of recommending this or whether a person will like it or not, this is a movie that if you hear the premise or see the trailer, exactly what you think in that moment is what you're going to think of the movie. Um, I like the Foo Fighters. I was into it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that this is like a great movie or anything. I mean, it's probably the best movie made by a rock and roll band
I mean,
or starring a rock and roll band.
we saw Kiss and the Phantom, so I mean, whew.
um, but I had a good time. It's the basic premise. If you don't know, it is a parody of like the Amityville Horror, but starring the Foo Fighters. The Foo Fighters move into a creepy mansion to record their new album to inspire creativity, which is very loosely inspired by something that happened with Dave Grohl. And then Dave Grohl becomes possessed and shenanigans happen from there.
Yeah, it's it's not it's not, but again, it's what you think it's going to be. Like if you heard
Mm-hmm.
Foo Fighters making a horror movie, whatever your first thought was after that left my mouth, that's what you're going to see. Like you're 100% accurate.
It's either going to be too stupid for you to get into, or just the right amount of stupid to have fun with,
Yeah,
and mileage is going to vary on that.
that would be my pro. My pros of it is one, I like when people I just like when people make things. Like sometimes people get boxed into, well, we're a band, we do this, or we're in this lane, we do this. Now, if you're a band and you want to make a movie. If you're anybody, you want to do anything. So it's cool to see that they're like, yeah, we're the Foo Fighters. We have money. We want to make a horror movie. So we're gonna make a horror movie. We know our audience. This isn't for everybody, and we know that. This is for this group. We're not trying to make a cash cow off of it. We know what this is. And so I respect it off of that that's what they were going for, and that's what they did. They made something that was fun for them, I'm sure, to make. I'm sure it was an amazing time. And yeah, so with that, I thought that was really cool, and it seemed like they were having a lot of fun while they were doing it. So that was definitely a pro for me. I liked that aspect, that it seemed like they were having a genuine good time doing something they actually just wanted to do.
Well, and they're in on the joke,
Yeah,
which helps a lot, in comparison. Not to keep comparing it to this, but it's a fun one to compare it to. But in comparison to Kiss Meets the Phantom of the
yeah,
Park, where the members of Kiss were kind of playing it, well, two of them were playing it very straight, and the other two just didn't want to be there.
yeah,
um, but like here, like they know it's kind of stupid and they're having fun. None of them are good actors,
yeah,
but as opposed to sort of being flat and monotone the way the members of Kiss were, they're all just sort of being over the top and silly and goofing around. And
yeah.
there is a charm to that. Um, it's a little entertaining. I will say, sort of like something I said in our review of X, where it's kind of fun to like see people make a low budget movie. It's also just a little fun to watch some of the band shenanigans, like
Hmm.
them like just hanging out, trying to make music. some of the sort of obviously exaggerated stuff where like they're obviously playing with the diva lead singer stereotype and taking it to like the worst possible extreme. I thought some of that was funny, and some of like Dave Grohl inventing a new musical note
Yeah.
that everyone is like it's just an E, but he insists that it's an L. I thought some of that stuff was fun and cute.
Yeah, there was things that I liked that they were in on the joke. It felt to me like whenever I was in fucking high school and stuff, whenever me and my friends would get a camera and we'd go make some movie with skits in it, we'd be like, this is it'd be funny to us. Like we'd make it
Yeah.
and we're like, it was so much fun to make because it's you just hanging out with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
You're all in on the joke. So you watch and you're like, this is amazing. You show someone else, they're like,
I know.
I don't really understand, but you're like, no, you don't get it. It's amazing. And I feel like that's what it was. For them, it was fun
Mm-hmm.
and they know their fans are going to be all over it. And I like
Yeah.
Foo Fighters, but I'm not like I'm not so diehard into them where I'm like anything they touch is going to be
Mm-hmm.
my cup of tea. But yeah, the fun they were having, if they would have taken it serious, it would have been a problem. But you
Yeah.
could tell they were totally cool with taking the piss out of themselves with that movie.
No, and I've been there too, making something that you being there, it's the funniest thing ever. Then you show it to someone, they're like, "What are you talking about?" We, my friends and I, we used to do this like competition where you had to make one in 24 hours,
Oh, that's fun.
and we asked someone else to edit it. So like outside of the group that was shooting, and that was really eye-opening and helpful because he would get some of the footage and literally just be like, "What is this?
That's a
What are
really
you
cool
doing?"
idea.
And then it was somehow my job to kind of try and explain, which goes about as well as explaining an inside joke normally does.
Yeah, it's I remember I would always feel so embarrassed. Like we made this whole thing and I put it onto a DVD. I'm like, this is gonna be fucking awesome. And you'd play it for people, and I would find that like me and another person who are in it would just watch them like watch them watch it, like you get it, and they're just sitting there like uh-huh. And like you're like explaining the movie as it's going, like, no, this is funny because of this. And that's so I related to it in a certain way where I was like, I feel that. I feel that you're just having fun with your friends and you're like, I don't care what gets made. We're having a good time. And it's funny to us.
And speaking of X, Jenna Ortega's in it. Back to back Jenna Ortega reviews.
I have trouble with.
She's the opening kill in this
Oh,
movie.
she is, isn't she?
Yeah.
Bru-
Spoilers for anyone that was excited to see Jenna
Oh,
Ortega in the
yeah.
Foo Fighters movie.
I did like the kills and the gore. They're obviously what you'd expect you'd get from this movie, but I thought they were fun.
Really? See, I didn't like the gore. I
No,
thought it was a little fake looking a lot of the times. And maybe
I
that
thought
was the
it.
point, that it was supposed to be like super bad looking. But I
Yeah,
thought some of it was a little CG and just kind of off. And I wanted something a bit, I don't know. It didn't work for me. The gore was my big like actual criticism.
hmm. Yeah, it worked for me just because it felt with the tempo and the speed of the movie.
Sure.
As like that's what I would expect. You got to see a lot of different people in it, which was cool. Like you'd see like
Mhm.
Carrie King would make like a cameo, and like they had Whitney Cummings in it. So like there was different people in it. Where like that's cool that they had all these ties, but
Whitney Cummings was so weird.
insanely weird in
Like
that movie.
like again, everybody's in on the joke. Everybody's chewing the scenery, and like everybody gets it.
Oh yeah,
But she in
the
particular, like some of her line deliveries, I was like, "What planet are you on?"
she had one part that made me like again. There were little parts, and they're kind of hard to remember just because the whole movie's kind of one tongue-in-cheek joke after the next. But
Mm-hmm.
I remember there was one, I can't remember what the line was, but she was looking over the fence while she was saying it, and
Yeah.
she was trying to be creepy, and then like instead of floating down, it's just her holding onto the fence and like leaning over it. Like that made me laugh. uh I'm curious, what's some of your other pros, like what did you find in it?
um, I mean, comedies, because this is a comedy, it is a parody. Sometimes they're hard to review because ultimately it is. I thought it was funny,
Yeah,
or I didn't think it was funny, and for the most part,
yeah,
I thought this was funny. Um, yeah, I think I've kind of said all the pros. that I had. I'm trying to think. Because
I
it's not a particularly interesting plot because it is just again, it's you're gonna be in on that joke of Dave Grohl is possessed. And that's either gonna make you laugh or it's not.
I can say I did get tired of hearing that effing song over and over and
I
over.
was into the song. I
I
was
was
into
at
the
first,
song.
and then after a while, I was like, "Oh my god, I got
And
it."
that's a funny joke that the song just keeps getting
Yeah,
longer and longer and
that
longer.
was good.
Just the
the
other guys in the band just being like, "What are we doing?"
the little things where it's like where like Dave would be talking to Taylor about the drums. He'd be like, "Go back to like that pa ta pa part,
Yeah,
pa ta pa," and he's like,
the
"There's like
entire
100 of
thing.
those."
The counting joke that made me laugh.
Do it in odd numbers.
Do it in odd numbers this time.
Yeah, there. I think this movie, your enjoyment level can also depend on your headspace. Like if I was around a couple of my friends that were into that same type of music and style, I think
Mm-hmm.
you'd have a lot more fun than when I was just sitting here by myself at my apartment, like eating dinner and watching it. And you're like it's funny, but it's not like I'm not gonna laugh out loud. Whereas if you're watching it with someone else, I think you can both
Sure.
enjoy it so much more.
Yeah, I went and saw it in the theater, not a packed theater, um, but there were other people, um, and that maybe helps. Man, I had a point and I lost it, like I was going somewhere and it just left. Oh God, what was I gonna say? Oh, I was gonna say in contrast to X, this is a good party movie. X is
Yes,
not.
yes.
This would be a
This
good movie to put on with if you're like playing like for like a game night or something like that and you
yeah.
want to put a movie on in the background. I feel like this is a really fun one
Oh, for sure.
to put on.
Yeah, you don't have to be vested in the plot at any point.
Mm-hmm.
You can just
Yeah.
look over, laugh for a second, and go back to what you're doing.
Yeah.
I did like that they used the Lumberjack song by Jackal in it because I've made fun of that song for so many years of my life. And so to actually hear it in a movie, I was like, this is amazing. That kind of fired me up. And then the way like the kill works, she's like, I love this part. And then he just saws through them. I was like, that's so
Yeah.
ridiculous. But that was, I guess, that was my favorite kill of the movie because I was just so hyped about the song.
My favorite death is probably the symbol.
That one
Just
was
because
funny.
it's so crazy. Um, I will say another pro is I like how that they went dark with it. Like they all die.
Yeah, no one
Like
made
I
it.
like that sort of pessimism. Like they all die, and Dave Grohl gets this insanely successful solo career
We
without them.
you got to think like all these dudes are probably horror movie fans, so it'd be a dream of theirs to die in a horror movie.
Sure,
And
yeah.
so they're like, kill us all. I don't care how
There's
I die.
something cool in that to like
Yeah.
get like a big over the top death scene. Like people do get excited about that.
Oh, dude, if I ever got famous enough to be a death scene in a horror movie, oh my god, that would be like pinnacle. I don't
Yeah,
need to be a mainstay character. Just kill me in one of them.
as long as it's cool.
Like imagine if you got to be a Michael Myers victim in a movie. That would
You could
if
live
I
off that at conventions for the rest of your life.
yeah, you could. That I'm trying to think. All right, if you could be a death scene and any horror movie, whatever, have any character killer take you out, which one would it be? Or if you could pick a specific death in a movie, like if you could have been one,
Hmm.
like who would you choose?
The rotating room from Elm Street just seems neat from a like a filmmaking perspective of like getting dragged on the ceiling and how they did that. Even though I know the actress actually got vertigo from that, so in my head maybe it isn't as fun as I'm thinking it would be. But it just seems neat. I'd probably want to have a Freddy one, just because you could do something really big and crazy with like a crazy effect. Whereas if going with Jason or Michael, you're running the risk of just sort of getting stabbed, and like still cool, but like I feel like Freddy would just be the most exciting one.
For me, I'm trying to think. If I had to pick someone to be killed by, Freddy would probably be the way to go. Just again because there's so much going on. But if I could be a specific death, I would be the first death from the original Texas Chainsaw where he gets the hammer to the head.
Huh.
I think that's like the coolest kill
Hmm.
because he just walks in, hammer to the head, and then he just twitches and then gets struck in, and the door shuts, and you're like, "What the just happened?" I would love to be that guy. I think that would be a sweet death. But yeah, I guess Freddy would be the way to go because they could make up anything. Anything's
Yeah.
possible to kill you with. So yeah, Studio 666. Also beware if you're looking online for it, which it's available on Amazon as of yesterday. There's also a 2005 movie called Studio 666, and let me tell you, I got about 5 minutes into it thinking that maybe this was the same movie. It's not the same movie at all. I was thinking, oh, it's low budget. That's why it's like they're making a point because it starts out with this horrible music video, like an awful music video of this band, and so I was like, I don't think this is the right movie, but maybe they're gonna like make fun of it in a minute or something. And so then I looked up the plot of the Foo Fighters movie, and it said like recording band, this band, whatever plot synopsis. So I'm like, well, this is a band, so maybe this is right. About 5 minutes in, it's these two people that are not members of the Foo Fighters trying to act, and I was like, oh my god, this is not right. And I looked at the upload date; it was like 2005. It's like, yeah. So if y'all ever want a separate good time, go ahead and go find that.
You know, it'd be a great movie. If the people that made that movie tried to sue the Foo Fighters. Like the Studio 666 was ours.
We thought of that. I'll have to find the link to it and put it in the description so people can watch it. Because whoever finishes it, let me know what happens. Because I didn't get through the first scene. I doubt it's going to be as fun of a time. But yeah, that's all I have for the movie. It's a fun time. I would say go watch it with friends if you have friends that are into that, especially if y'all like the same kind of music and stuff. It'll be a fun time. Take it with a grain of salt. Obviously, don't go in expecting a masterpiece. Chances are, if you're found that movie anyway, you probably already know what you're going to get. It's kind of a niche thing. You're not just going to stumble onto it and be like, oh, I can't see a mother somewhere being like, who are the Foo Fighters? That's interesting. Let's watch this.
Studio 666. Let me put that on.
This sounds perfect. But yeah, I'd say go watch it. It's a fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got on it.
Yeah. Don't really have any other horror news unless you had something.
No, I mean, I always do a run of just see what pops up on Bloody Disgusting whenever I Google horror news. So we'll see if anything new has popped off recently. I
sometimes go there, but then they have so many like editorials and reviews that I have a hard time finding the news.
Yeah, it's
I
really
get annoyed and leave.
Yeah, it's tough.
They're a great site. It's just I don't always use them. The news.
There's a horror movie called Uma I've seen in the theaters. I haven't watched it, but
yeah, I've seen a couple previews for it. It looks potentially interesting. It came out the same day as X, I think.
Here we go. Netflix's Resident Evil live action series will premiere on July 14th. Didn't know that was coming. So if you guys are into Resident Evil, July 14th, you will have a series.
That last movie was okay.
I've never seen any of them, so I'm kind of out of the loop. So movies releasing this month on top of X, Cold Wind Blowing, Sin Eater,
Monster. Are these streaming things?
Monster Python is going straight to DVD, believe it or not.
I can't believe like straight to DVD movies are still a thing.
Apparently this one is.
Like, like it just feels like why didn't you make a streaming deal?
So
man, the streaming deal.
Sin Eater might be a good deal for people. It goes DVD and on demand. Another one straight to DVD. DVD and on demand came out March 15th. It has Bill Moseley from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and The Devil's Rejects. And so I guess he's like their main star, but it's inspired by a folklore and a creepy thriller of the same name. So I guess you can think like Antlers was that style of film. Other than that, a lot of these are kind of just yeah, run of the mill horror movies. It looks like apparently there's some straight to DVDs. A lot of them actually. It's astounding.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that's the
They're
market
cheap.
you're trying to corner? You're like, you know what? We're straight to Redbox.
Oh
When
man.
the newest one from Netflix that is coming up is called Windfall. It's a Hitchcockian thriller about a wealthy couple whose vacation home gets robbed.
Seeing that's something where it's like it could go either way.
Well, it's got Jason Segel in it, and I love him. So,
Oh.
and Jesse Plemons. If y'all ever saw Antlers, the cop, it looks like he's a lead character in this movie too. So yeah, not much coming out in the horror movies this month.
We don't even have a trailer for Halloween Ends yet. Maybe it's too soon, but it's out this October.
That's so weird to think about. Time is flying, dude. It feels like just yesterday we were talking about Halloween Kills, and now I'm like,
yeah,
we're not that far away from seeing Halloween Ends when you think about it. November, December, January.
Pandemic.
We're like we've already almost went through almost half a year since it came out. That's crazy. I mean, I'm gonna see it. I have to see it.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it, but I can't not. But yeah, not much going on in horror right now. So yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah. Well, then that'll probably do it for this episode. You can check me out on Instagram and YouTube, just under my name, Sean Blumenshine. You can follow Scott on the same platforms. All that stuff will be linked below. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe and all that stuff that helps, because algorithm that I totally understand. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.